Hello, good morning everyone, and welcome to today's DBA live trial class on the 10th of April 2021. Today, everyone is here for the DBA trial class with the title of Modern Innovation and Entrepreneurship. So before I start this DBA trial class, let us just clarify today's session, this morning session, will be separated into two. Hello, sorry. I think that's disconnection early on. Sorry, just a moment. Sorry, just a moment while I recheck the network. Sorry, everyone. Okay, let's just begin again. So good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining the DBA trial class. Today is the 10th of April for the events of DBA live trial class, the Modern Innovation and Entrepreneurship. So basically, in today's morning, we will separate this event into two components. Under the first component, which will be briefed by me, Mr. Sheng from the admission department, I will be basically briefing everyone here today on the basic details about Mentisa, the program, the structure itself, and then later on in the second, your traffic, which is your web traffic, will be directed to the live class, innovation and entrepreneurship. And of course, the lectures for today would be Dr. Fakro, and he's a very experienced lecturer, very much experience across few industries, and of course this class will be very interesting in terms of innovation that is very practical and relevant to today's environment and market requirement after the COVID impacts and what's not. A few minutes for the rest of the traffics to come in, then I will start off with my first session on the briefing on the DBA program. Okay. All right, so before I start the event, so basically there's a chat box in the area. So if you have any questions, throughout this briefing, just feel free to write the comments in the chat box. I will try my best ability to actually address the questions accordingly. All right. So we would like some interaction from the guests. Of course, if you can just leave some comments and ask some questions pertaining to this structure, that would be very much a fun, structure and session. Okay, so let us just start with these sessions since everyone is here. So basically, welcome again to Mentisa College DBA live trial class. So let me just introduce myself. I'm Mr. Sheng from the admission department of Mentisa College. So basically, this is going to be the first live trial class that we are running in the current semester, which is the April to July semester, as the previous trial class was done somewhere around January early this year. So just recap for today's event. So basically, the events will be separated into two structures, part A and part B. Part A will be done by me. That is between the first hours now from 10 o'clock to 11. Basically, I'm going to brief everyone here about some basic details about the program, structures. And of course, if you have any questions, just feel free to write out. And then in the second half, which is starting from 11 until the end of the day, so basically you will be directed to the Zoom class. So you will have the opportunity, it's a live sessions via Zoom. You will have the opportunity to interact with the lecturers, the students, and just to have a feel and experience on as a doctorate student, right? So in the class experience, just mingle around, you will have a lot of opportunity to chat with some of the students, the lecturer, and of course, later on in my presentation, I'm going to share with everyone here about the profiles and credential of our students. So most of the doctorate students that are now starting with us, they hold a good credential. And of course, for those candidates out there who are looking for networking and opportunity, I would say this is one of the best platform for students to interact and expand your network. All right, coming on to today's briefing. So basically, in my part, I'm going to split this into three components. Mainly in the first component, I'm going to brief through some basic details about who we are. So basically, we are from Mentisa College. We are an institution that is located in Tamantur. So later on, I'll also go into some backgrounds about our partner university, which is known as the IPE-PPA France, which is the awarding body of this doctorate qualification. Right, in the second part, basically, I'm going to touch a little bit on the reasons. These are some of the survey that we've done across our existing students on why they are taking up a DBA program, and is this program really suitable for you? Right in front of the screen, because some students may prone into business aspect or some prone into academic field. So we go into those differences, and of course later on I'm going to share with you on the lecturer's background. So who are the lecturers that will be teaching this program, their credentials and some backgrounds, whatnot, and later on your classmates, which are the students' background. So where they are from, who they are, the industry, their experiences, because most of our students, when they join in the program, one of the expected like about this program is about networking. You don't just want to go through a program and graduate with a piece of paper, but along the line, along your study journey, you would also like to take this opportunity to expand your business network, mingle around with students within Malaysia as well as abroad as well. Okay. In the third part, I'm going into the drier stuff, which is the program structure. That is for those candidates who are ready to sign up, would like to find out more about the DBA program that we are offering, and know how this program works for working adults like you. We have it in online and face-to-face structure. Yes, we'll go into that part in the part 3 of this briefing. And lastly, before I end my session at the end of this hour, we'll have a short Q&A session. And of course, if you have any questions, just feel free to comment. But of course, just before I start with my first slide, let us just recap. We have the little chat comment box here. That we can actually have a very interactive sessions. Yeah. Okay. All right, let us start with the first slide. So basically, before I go into any briefing, it is always good for everyone in front of the screen to get to know us better. Yeah. So basically, we are from Mentisa College. We are actually an institution that was established since the 1999, and it's almost 20 plus years now. And of course, we are basically located in Taman Dr. Ismail, which is in the suburb of Kuala Lumpur, the capital city of Malaysia. So basically, across our experience since 1999, Mentisa College has successfully graduated more than 15,000 plus students, covering over 50 other countries. Yeah. So basically, we have vast experience in handling both domestic as well as international students studying with us. And of course, until today, the year of 2021, we are proud to say that Mentisa College is the only college in Malaysia with the college status institution, having a complete set of business program with accreditation with the local authorities such as the Ministry of Higher Education, as well as the MQA, the Malaysia Qualifications Agency, the auxiliary body responsible for the quality assurance of the program. So basically, we have a series of programs that are all accredited from the local governmental agencies and organizations, that's ranging from doctorate program, master's, degree, diploma, certs program. So in bottom line is any student, regardless if you are a foreign or even a local Malaysian student, when you complete the program, you can actually get the necessary endorsement within here. And then when you go for third country applications, such as for migration, work prospect, usually when you apply for visa in third countries for jobs or migration purposes, the border control or immigration of those countries would usually refer back here as a reference. So as long as they check out and they can actually locate this as the public information, this program is fully accredited, then no problem. In terms of qualification portions, you have a checkbox, right? So these are all the records that we have established since the 1999. And of course, across me, I'm not sure which area, so will be some of the pictures of our students. We basically have our last graduation held in the year of 2019. Of course, 2020, because of the COVID impact, we don't have any graduation in the year of 2020. And this year we may have graduation as well we plan to have the graduation held here in the hotel, Eastern Hotel, in around the month of July. But of course, depending on the COVID season, but these are some of the students or graduates from the program that we have in the last graduation ceremony. Okay, so a little bit further backgrounds about Manchester College, about our awards, our achievement for the past years. So basically, we were given the Special Award-winning college by the Ministry of Higher Education in 2003. And then later on, we achieved the MSc Super Corridor Status Institution back in 2012 until now. And later on, across the ranking by the Ministry of Education among colleges and institutions. So we consistently achieve 4-star rating as an institution across the few leagues, right? So the last achievement that we achieved were back in 2018, 2019. So we managed to secure the seats at 4-star. And of course, hopefully with support and dedication of students and staff, we hope to achieve higher ranks in the upcoming league. Okay, so basically moving on to the next one, which is the awarding body. So just to clarify it, basically, yes, students will have the opportunity to study with us, Manchester College. And upon finishing this program, you will be receiving this French awarded doctorate qualification. Now, in simpler terms, it means that for Malaysian students or international students, you can actually study with us, pay a much cheaper and lower cost fee in Ringgit Malaysia. But when you completed your doctorate qualifications, that piece of qualification will be awarded by the French university without mentioning of Malaysia, Manchester, or even online if they're going for that track. Yeah. So basically, it will look exactly as if you are attending your lectures over there in the French campus and graduated as a French graduate university student. All right. So let me just go through some of the backgrounds about this awarding body. So basically, the awarding body of this qualification, the Doctorate of Business Administration program, will be awarded by the IPE-PPA France. So basically, the full name of the institution is also known as the IPE of Pau Paris Autonomous PPA. All right. So basically, just a quick background about this institution. You can check online later on. You just need to go to ppa.fr, the website, to check out further. So in summary, these are some of the summary that we have. So basically, this is a private institution. So it's a private university located and originated in France. Their campuses, they have 6 campuses now at present, located across the capital city of France. And of course, basically, IPE-PPA is the approved institutions by the Commission National de la Certification Professional. And of course, the IPE-PPA is also listed under the RNCP register list. So basically it means that for any students who later on plans to migrate to European Union itself, yeah, so Schengen territory. So basically, yes, when you apply for any visa application, you will always cross-check with the database. Of course, you will get that tick. So because this program is basically issued and approved by a valid institution back in France. So basically, besides me, there are some of the slides here and pictures. So basically, these are some of the pictures. And of course, you can see that's a graduate standing with the red gown. It's basically our Malaysian candidate. Basically, it's our ex-student. He graduated from our DBA program here at Manchester College. And then later on, for the graduation that was held in 2019, he actually, and a few more guys, flew to France to attend the French graduation. So basically, and you can see from the screen, I'm not sure left or right, sorry, some of the pictures that our students actually went there for the ceremony, the graduation ceremony. Of course, for the rest of the students, by default, you will be attending your graduation here in Malaysia. So basically, it means that when you finish your program, usually by default, we will have our yearly graduation here around Manchester College, near Eastern Hotel. And of course, for those students, if you have more time or extra funds, you can actually choose to also attend the graduation in France with, of course, additional fee payable directly to the university. All right. So, all right. Good morning, Christillo. Okay, let's just go into the second component, which is the some of the important things we need to discuss to determine if you in front of a screen are suitable for a DBA or a PhD program. So We have been in the market promoting programs for a long time, and it's very common that we always came across inquiries from students. Sometimes we collect information from students, we ask them, we do some survey and feedback, and in most cases, students always give us these questions: should I go for PhD or DBA? So basically, I would like to take this opportunity through today's session to have a quick summary on the similarities and differences between these two. And of course, later on, you will decide which structure will work best for you, right? Because each pathway, which means DBA and PhD, they have their own similarity as well as quite a distinctive differences. Yeah, so it depends again on individuals, which is now you, on what would be your future plans are. Would you like to go, upon graduating this doctorate program, would you like to go for business related structure or career, or you are prone into academic structure? All right, so before I go into the differences, let us just look into the similarities. In terms of the similarities, yes, both DBA, a Doctor of Business Administration program, as well as a PhD, the philosophy doctorate program, they are known in academic world as equivalent to level 8, which is the highest level of academic status in the qualification framework. So basically, just to recap, what is qualification framework? Basically, it's like when the students completed your secondary school, you will start off with, let's say, going through certificates that's known as level 3, diploma level 4, degree level 6, master's level 7, and the top of it would be the doctorate or PhD level 8 program. So this is the first similarity, right? Both of these DBA and PhD are known as a level 8 doctorate qualification. The second similarity would be the ability to use the DR, doctor title. So when students graduated from either the DBA or PhD program, yes, if you like to, you can actually use the doctor, DR title, to be placed in front of your name cards and business cards. So you can actually serve as a doctor upon completing these either qualification. All right. So basically, let us just look into some of the differences. Right. Today's session, we focus more into the differences to have a clear understanding. Let's just look into the first item of DBA. So basically, DBA, it is known as Doctor of Business Administration program. It is usually very useful for successful business person who basically takes many years to look for new intellectual challenges. So what it means is basically DBA program, in simpler terms, I'll just summarize this, right? So in simpler terms, DBA program in the field of academician, right? It is a younger program, which means traditionally a PhD is an older academic qualification. They have longer history, and usually PhD are very popular in the Ivy League universities such as Oxford, Cambridge, NUS, the high top ranking university. They would usually focuses on PhD program, whereas in the newer market, which is recent years and recent days, institutions across the world also offers a similar or identical program, which is known as a DBA. So DBA is considered as now in the market as a younger and newer qualification. All right. So in the first point, successful in business, basically, the DBA program is created in the market, right, by institution with the objective of catering to those candidates out there who are basically coming in from the business background, right? Coming in from the business background. So I haven't noticed that I haven't changed the title. Sorry, let's come back to the topic. So DBA is usually catered for the successful business person, which means you can be a person who are an entrepreneur yourself, you are self-employed, you have your own company, and then you reach a stage whereby, you, across your experiences in the business world, you notice that there's something that maybe from my personal experience, I can actually, improve the structure, a system or a formula in your business. And then I would like to actually test out my theory, right? That is very much practical for those business person who have vast experiences, you've gone through an organization or you even set out your own company. And then most of the self-employed person, right? You tested out your structure by yourself, a formula in marketing, perhaps, a management styles, a finance strategy, perhaps. No, you have gone through that yourself, and then you roughly know this is how you should work, right? But you don't know how to actually solidify this into a theory that can be used by others, right? So this is one thing. The second part is basically in terms of the differences, right? DBA students, when you go through a DBA program, it is quite similar to your master's program, whereby at the initial stage, as a DBA student, you need to go through lectures, which means similar to what you have experienced at the master's level, you need to go through lectures, classes, do some assessment, assignment, discussion, and then at the end of this, you move into your thesis component. That is where you will express your ideas, your thoughts. You have roughly some focus on certain topics you want to write, and then you need to do research based on the topics in the part 2, all right? Basically, on the other hand, let's move into the other part, the PhD. PhD, on the other hand, in terms of career, so it is very much suitable for those who plans, right? They have a very straight mind that once I finish my study, I plan to further my career in the academic field, which means that I plan to actually work as a full-fledged university professor. I want to apply with Ivy League University, to be part of their faculty members. Then yes, PhD would be very much appropriate to you, because let's be frank. In the industry, basically, what are the factors that make an institution ranks higher? It's based on the number of publications that institutions are able to produce. So if, let's say, you are the candidates who actually gone through a system of research, you know how to do thorough research, how to do proper research in many fields, and you have a lot of publications, then when you apply to Ivy League University, then yes, usually you will be a preferred choice to work in a faculty member, because that's what they want. They want you to come in and join them in the academic field, and then help the institutions to do more research and publish more papers, so that the ranking of the university will actually stacks higher from year to year. All right. Of course, this is one thing, the differences. The second thing is about the academic structure. As I mentioned in the DBA earlier on, as a DBA student, when you start your program, you need to attend classes, go through modules, and then going into research. On PhD, on the other hand, when you start your program, since day one, you will be starting your research immediately without needing to go through those kind of classes, similar to master's. So as a PhD student, when you sign up for the program, you go in, and then immediately you will need to discuss your research, and you need to start writing. And in most cases, a PhD, because it's very much on research based, it may take a longer year, such as 5 years, 8 years, we have it 10 years, depending on how complex your research are. So for DBA, although you are also required to write a research paper, or thesis paper we call it, but the requirement would be much more lesser, simplified version, and it's more prone into business related kind of research, right? All right, the third differences between these two would be the ideas. So in terms of learning methodology. So the DBA, the Doctor of Business Administration, learning methodology is very much prone to the business world. As I mentioned, you may be a senior manager or self-employed person for many years. You have your own company, your network, and then it comes to a stage whereby you felt, I've reached a stage and I want to actually teach some of the good concept to my other people or to the community. Or sometimes on the other hand, some entrepreneurs, they reach a stage whereby this is all I can achieve in my company and I can't find a breakthrough. So I may need to have further research on how to evaluate my companies, and also actually implement new techniques and structure so that my company can move into the new heights. So these are some of the business related topics. So you can actually apply this concept, doesn't matter which industry you're from. You can actually come from various industry. You can come from finance industry. You can come from ICT and hardware, software industry, services. If you come from services, you can actually apply that as well. Even government corporations or even government sectors. So it doesn't matter where you come from, as long as you have the intention of looking at the existing models and you want to enhance it, right? That is practically useful, that you can enhance it in your environment, then the DBA program will be much suitable for you to go through, because it's very intuitive and condensed, concise for further improvement. That is the learning methodology out of a DBA. On PhD, on the other hand, the learning methodology is all about academic research. So basically, academic research can be, you look into the existing models, management models or theories, for example, and then you want to enhance it. So when you enhance it, the ultimate objective is you want to create a workable academic theories so that, in the future, most schools or university are able to use your theories and concept in the academic work. That would be the main requirements of the learning methodology of the PhD. Of course, a lot of people can actually have further discussion on this too, but generally, to simplify things, these are some of the similarity and differences of these both applications. Okay, so before I move into the next section, just wonder if there's any other questions from the guests today. Of course, if you have any questions, just feel free to post in comments. We can also have some discussion along the way. All right, so that will be much fun in this session after that. Okay, let us just go into the next slide on the background of the students, right? Background of our students. So background of our students, as I mentioned, getting a DBA, enrolling into a DBA program is not just about a qualification. It is also the opportunity for newcomers to join in and expand your network. So let us just go through, some of the existing students' background and to understand who they are, where they come from, and what kind of positions they are. And of course, who knows, you will have some opportunity out there. We do have many cases whereby students come across they all meet within this program and they have successfully established some networks and networking for business-related expansion. All right, so in terms of our existing students, just a recap, as of today, in the month of April 2021, we have an existing active students of around 70 plus students, like 70 plus students. And of course, in terms of the average range or age range of our students, they are all around 47 years old. So we have a younger candidates that's as young as 20 plus or early 30s, all the way up to 70 plus years old. So on average, our students are around 47 plus years old. And in terms of genders, for those who are interested, yes, we have 27% of female students and the rest are male students. In terms of the entry requirements, of course, just to recap, basically the official entry requirements for candidates to apply into this DBA program would require a candidate to possess a master's qualification in any field, right? In any field. So you can be a master's in engineering, in business, or finance, or IT, but as long as you have the necessary working experiences, which means we will look into your CVs. If you have years of experiences, in the industry, and you take charge as a team leader, you are an entrepreneur yourself, yes, you can be accepted into this program as well. Of course, those are the basic entry requirements, but in fact, while we do a survey across our existing students, we noticed that 68% of our existing students actually applied into this program using a master's qualification. And of course, 14 of them uses a PhD, which means they already have a PhD from some other private and public university. And then they are still taking up a second DBA. Yeah, as I mentioned, why are those candidates applying for another doctorate program? It's because of the learning methodology. As I briefed earlier on in the previous slides, PhD is prone into academic research, but they are going into a DBA program because they also want to do the business related elements, right? They want to do research in the business related element. That is why those 14% of our students actually, join in the DBA program with that objective in mind. And of course, the other 18% of our students already have the other DBA program or qualification, and they are taking up as our program as a second backup, which means another DBA qualification. All right. On the other part will be the nationality of the students. So basically, okay, I have a question. So I'll come to this question shortly, Christia. I'll just go through the slides a bit and I'll come to the assessment. So basically, in terms of nationality, yes, we have students, as I mentioned in the earlier slide, we have students that comes from 50 over countries. So of course, I can't be listing 50 countries. So these are some of the students where they are from. Yeah, we have students coming in from both face-to-face lecture and also online lecture, depending on the preferences of the individual. And of course, in terms of the average income of our existing student, we just put in average. This will be the average income of our students that are now studying with us. Okay, before I go into the next section, let us just go through some of the questions posted by Christy Young. In terms of assessment per modules, individuals, okay, let me just summarize this question into a few parts. So basically, I'll touch on that later on in the part 3, but since you posted, I'll just answer it accordingly. So basically, in terms of the assessment, there are 8 assignments, individual assignment the students need to write. And of course, at a doctorate level, each assignment word length, the requirements of the word length is about 5,000 words per assignment. So you need to write 8 assignments for those lectures that you attend, right? Later on, unfortunately, there's no group assignment. It's all individual submission because the university or the system wants the students to learn out, to write your answers or your assignment individually, so that later on when you progress into the thesis, you have a very good ideas on what kind of topic and research you want to venture into, right? And how about the grades of DBA and the modules? Yes, basically at the end of the study, you will be receiving your gradings in CGPA. So meaning that the maximum score of this academic rating is 4.0 CGPA. Of course, students, before you graduate from this program, we usually will have to make sure students achieve a minimum 3.0 and above. So it will be calculated as CGPA. And of course, yes, 100% assignment, no exam, correct. So for all the 8 subjects that we actually offered and delivered with lectures, it's going to be 100% assignment, no exam. All right, let's move on to the next component, that is on the student background. Basically, yes, in terms of the student backgrounds, basically our DBA students on average holds top managerial positions. They are all coming from across more than 10 industries. So we have actually clusters across the 70 students we have in hand, and these are some of the results that we gathered. So 47% of our existing students, basically they are the top position managerial skipper. So basically they are group executive directors. They are all coming from, MNC, government-linked corporations, or even private listed companies. Yes, they are all holding those positions. And of course, 30% of our existing students, they are the group GM, general manager, COO, operation finance analyst, associate vice chancellor, extra from institution as well. And of course, the other 23% of our existing students, they are the head of department, head of policy programs, township management, executive solution sales, project management, and etc. So basically, the bottom line is we have a lot of students that are coming in from different various positions, and of course they are coming across 10 different industries, both locally and abroad. So when the students join in the program, you will have a good opportunity to do your proper networking. If you think that's the opportunity that can transpire in the business dealing, yes, please go ahead, do some network, discuss with them. We have heavyweight students around as well, so you can just find some opportunity and talk to them. All right, to get some of the expansion in network. All right, why study a doctorate program? All right, let's go through the other sections on why study a doctorate program. So basically, we also ask those students, since most of them already hold good position in the company, they have family, they have wealth, and they have positions, why do you still want to take out a DBA program? So these are some of the outcomes that we managed to gather from our students. So basically, 32.6% of our students told us now they are taking out a DBA program because they want to learn advanced skill, right? So basically, they want to keep themselves into the up-to-date management skill in the areas of management skill, strategic planning, leadership, and of course, big data analysis. As I mentioned earlier on, a DBA program is very much suitable for those who are already in the positions, you are in the industry, you have been working for many years in your companies or industry, and of course, it comes to a stage there you may be thinking, everything is just flat. There's no enhancement. So perhaps there's something that I can learn in the market based on today's trend. Possibly I can do some research out of it to bring my company to the next height. So that is the main objective why most students are taking out the DBA, because they want to learn new things that can be applied into the company. The other 31.6% of our students basically wants to take out a DBA program with us because of the ability to transfer study research into the business environment. As I mentioned earlier on, they want to actually, crystallize the experience they have into a workable formula or concept so that they can actually apply it across their branches, their franchisee concept, or other businesses. So those are the objective of why the students are taking out a DBA. The third reason is because 24.9% of our students want to take a DBA program because they want to stand out from the crowd during the interview or promotions. So basically, some students, they want to actually get government contracts, or even they want to get promotions within the group. So basically, they are striking to get a DBA program so that they will actually have a better chance at the interview session. All right, so some 0.42% is own vision, and some of the elder or senior students, they come to a stage there whereby they have been doing good businesses, they're very successful, and then taking a DBA or achieving the highest level in the academic form, level 8 program, is one of the visions they have in mind. They want to actually do that. And of course, they want to do that to show to their children or family members that learning never stops. Even though I'm at the elder stage or age, I still want to try to get the best out of these, what you have, right? So these are some of the reasons. The next one or last one would be 3.48% is self-satisfaction. So some of them, as I mentioned, they have this plan to get a DBA. They want to be known as a doctor. Yes, that's why they are taking out a DBA program. All right. So these are some of the reasons. Of course, it's not exhaustive. So we will do the survey across our students from time to time. Let's see how the trends works over the next half a year. But these are some of the recent survey that we have done since the COVID lockdown in 2020. We have been asking students across on their opinion, right? Okay, yeah, basically these are some of the WhatsApp's quick survey that we have asked across our students. So basically we have asked the survey across 40 plus students, across all Malaysian and non-Malaysian students. And yeah, these are some of the what you call print screen of chats that we have interaction with them, and the reason why they are taking out a DBA with us. All right. Okay, moving on to the next component. Sorry, before I go into. All right, so basically we have another questions. Does doing the DBA makes having a job mandatory? Does doing the DBA makes having a job mandatory? Does doing the DBA makes having. Sorry, I don't quite get the question. Does doing the DBA makes having a job? Okay, are you saying that is it a requirement to have a job experience to apply for DBA? So, okay, I roughly get the answer, the question, sorry. So basically, as long as a student have a master's qualification, even with or without job experiences, you may apply. However, usually, I would usually advise, if let's say a candidate only possess pure academic qualification, which means you only have a series of academic degree, masters, but you have never worked in the industry before, you can officially apply into this doctorate program. However, when you come aboard, you will need to do a lot of readings. That is because at the later part, which is the thesis component part, as I mentioned, the DBA objective, right? The DBA objective is to formulate and crystallize the ideas that are workable in the business environment. So I would say that it is possible to study a DBA without working experiences. However, you need to do a lot of reading, and you may need to do some assumption while you're doing the research, because you need to fill that gap, which means later on when you have a concept or theories you want to do research in, but it comes to a point when you're writing, right? It comes to the point whereby you need to relate it to a corporation or industry. That component, if you don't have a working experiences, I will have to be honest with you, you will find it quite tough, right? You will find it quite tough, but it is possible, which means you need to do a lot of cross-referencing to do a test on an existing company, right? So back to your questions, is having a job, is it mandatory to have, someone needs to have a job experiences to apply? The answer is no. As long as you have a master's qualification, you can apply to this doctorate program, but you need to do a lot of reading towards the end, because you need to actually fill the gap of the theories and the practical component. All right, does it make sense? So that's the reason. Okay, moving on to the next sections on the lecturer's profile. So basically, we also receive a lot of questions from students on who will be the lecturers that are teaching this program. So basically, let me clarify, I'm not a lecturer. I'm just from the admission department. So basically, today's session will be done by Dr. Fakro for the Modern Innovation and Entrepreneurship. He is a well-qualified lecturer. So of course, with a bunch of lecturers and faculty members we have as well. So basically, just a recap, just an overview on the lecturers we have. So I would say that when the students come aboard into this program managed by Mantissa College, basically 90% of the lecturers are Malaysian lecturers, while the remaining 10% are non-Malaysian lecturers. Right? In terms of the experiences of our lecturers, basically, since this program is fully accredited by the MQA, the Malaysian Qualifications Agency, as well as the university itself, the IPE-PPA. So basically, each lecturer, before they are allowed to teach this program, their credentials and working experiences will be screened through and approved on to expect. Meaning that the lecturers, before they are allowed to teach this program, the local site, which is Mantissa site, we will go through, as well as the MQA, the government regulatory body, will go through to make sure they have the necessary academic qualification. They are qualified themselves before they are approved academically. Meanwhile, on the university hands, the university, which is IPE-PPA back in France, the French office will go through the credential to make sure that these appointed lecturers, they have the necessary industrial experiences, right, before they are appointed to teach this program. So basically, yes, we do have a bunch of lecturers. We have close to 20 plus faculty members that are coming in across 18 different industries. And these are some of the highlights that we have. Sorry, I think it's here. Yeah. So on the top will be the principal of Mantissa College, Dr. William. And of course, later on, we also have Dr. Coral and of course, Dr. Ian. So basically, just to highlight, Dr. Coral, the lady in the center, would be the director of study of this program. She's basically the director of study of the IPE-PPA France, and she's also a lecturer from the University of Oxford in UK. So meaning that when the students come aboard into this program, by the time you reach your research component, yes, before you start writing your first 2 chapters, you will have a one-to-one session with the Dr. Coral, right? So Dr. Coral would be responsible to go through the framework so that you have a clear path and ideas on your concept, your objective and research, right? Streamline properly before you start writing. So she will use her experiences that she gathered and guiding students from the University of Oxford to make sure the students have the best what they call academic experience when they study across this program. All right. Of course, we also have Dr. Ian. He is a graduate or PhD from the Willikin State University and also the University of Southern Queensland, Australia. He will be going through with the chapter 3 on the data analysis component. So at the point of time when you're doing your data collection in chapter 3 and interpretations component part, you will be going through and seeing Dr. Ian McCartney. He will be responsible to go through your data analysis and details. All right. So yes. So of course, for those students who actually wants to find out more about the credential of other lectures, because we have a lot of lecturers, we can't put everything in the slides. You may actually, you can actually refer back to us. Later on, I'll put my contacts so we can actually send you the lecturer profile. It's a 20-page profile. Hold on. Perhaps I can just show. Just give me a minute. I'm just going to open the lecturer profiles. Give me a minute. Sorry. Okay. Yeah. Since everyone is here, I'm just going to share with you on the lecturer profiles. I'm just going to set that. Just give me a minute. Sorry. Right. So, yeah, these are the lecturers' profile. We have 10 pages of them, and these are all the credentials. So basically, these lecturers will be within this program. So depending on the nature of your research, on which fields, so we have expertise in management field, finance, marketing, and across different industry. Yeah, hospital, clinics industry, ICT industry, port logistic, governmental, institution environment, town planning. We do have the expertise and professors and doctorate that are, vast in their experiences, and they are able to actually guide you at the research stage, depending on your topics. All right. So I can actually share with everyone here this document so that you can actually read out their credentials and details. Of course, if you want to have a copy of these later on, you can just make contact with us, and then we will email you with the necessary documents. All right. So let's just go back to the slides. Just a minute. Okay. Right. Okay. Let's move on to the next part, which is the drier stuff. So before I go into this part 3 on the program structure and details, just wonder if you have any other questions, just feel free to post in the comments. I'll try my best ability to answer them accordingly. Yeah. All right. If not, let us just continue with the last part, which is on the basic program structure. So basically, this is the part 3, which is the program structure of this program. So when the students come aboard with us, right, to study this DBA program, the Doctor of Business Administration program. So basically, as I mentioned earlier on, this is a in collaboration program. It means that you will be studying with us. Doesn't matter you are here for a face-to-face DBA program or an online DBA program managed by Manchester College. And at the end of this qualification, you will be receiving this French awarded doctorate qualification, which is from the IPE PPA Management School of France. So basically, yes, although it's a French institution, this qualification, this awarding body, but since here, over here in Malaysia, we are a Commonwealth country, we don't speak French. So all the modules, lectures, assessment, thesis will be all written in English. Right. So don't worry if you don't speak French, then don't worry about that, because everything is all done in English. And of course, in terms of the semesters, the study durations, basically we will have 2 tracks. For those students who are coming in for the face-to-face lectures, your first track, so in terms of the study duration, it would be carried across a minimum 6 semesters to a maximum 15 semesters. Just to clarify, over here at Manchester College, in a year, we have 3 major semesters in a year, known as the April semesters, August, and January semester. So when we mention 3 semesters in a year, that's literally translated to 1 year. So when we mention 6 semester minimum, that's about 2 years minimum to a maximum 5 years maximum, depending on the progression of the student. And for those students who are studying or applying for the online DBA program, it works similar, whereby your study duration is converted into 24 months minimum to a maximum 60 months to complete this program. Now, within this given time frame, as a doctorate student, basically you are required to complete all the 11 subjects that are offered in this program. To clarify, the 11 subjects basically will split that up into 2 components. The part 1, we call it the lecture component. It's basically consisting of 8 subjects, which means there are 8 subjects. You are required to attend classes and lectures and complete the necessary assignment for these 8 subjects. And then followed by the second component, that is known as the subjects 9, 10, and 11. These 3 subjects will be known as a singular component of a doctorate thesis, right? So if you add everything up, that's coming to around 11 modules to complete. Now, in terms of the assessment, basically for the 8 core subjects, these 8 subjects, the assessment for these 8 subjects will be 100% assignment and no exam, which means there are 8 subjects. At the end of your learning journey, you are required to produce 8 pieces of assignment. And each assignment, the word requirement is somewhere around 5,000 words per assignment. And of course, it must be individual submission, no group submission at the doctorate level. And of course, in terms of the final thesis, the word length we are looking at is somewhere 50,000 to 80, right? 50 to 80. I'll just correct that to 50 to 80. Just a minute. 50 to 80,000 words, depending on your research topics. And of course, And of course, in terms of accreditation for Malaysian students, yes, this program has received the full accreditation from the MQA. MQA is translated as the Malaysia Qualifications Agency. It means that when you finish your program and qualification, you can actually bring your certifications to the Ministry of Higher Education in Putrajaya, the capital city, to get the necessary government endorsement if you were asked to do so. And of course, for those Malaysian candidates who actually you have future plans to work with the government sector, yes, this program is also registered and recognized by the DBA, right? So if you want to apply for civil service department, yes, this qualification is accepted as well. Meanwhile, for foreign students, all right, yes, this qualification is acceptable internationally as well. So we do have graduates in the previous batch in 2019 who have successfully received this doctorate certification, and now they are having a job prospect in Singapore and Australia. And of course, we do have students that goes to European country as well. Yeah, so I would say that quite okay. I mean, we have students going internationally, and their qualification is accepted, so they have no problem with getting visa and job prospect in those countries. All right, in terms of the entry requirements, basically the minimum entry requirements for this program, it's catered for candidates who possess a master's qualification in any field, right? So basically, as long as you have a master's qualification, even though it's from ICT, it's from engineering, you just need to attach with a supporting documents known as the CV. You just write as comprehensive as you can with your work experiences and whatnot. And yes, you can be accepted to apply into this doctorate program as well. All right. Okay, moving on. Let's go a little bit details on the program and structure. Basically, as I mentioned just now, the 8 core subjects and the thesis component. Now, these are the list of subjects the students are required to go through when you come aboard into this program. So the first 8 modules, as I mentioned earlier on, would be the what you call lectures classes. So it's similar to what you experience at the master's level, whereby you are required to attend classes by Zoom if you're an online student. And of course, if you are face-to-face students, you need to come to our campus here to attend the class. And all these 8 subjects, you need to attend lectures and complete them. And then later on in the part 2, you will have your thesis component, right? Let us just go into a little bit deeper on the teaching schedule, right? So teaching schedule. Now, we would like to clarify that this program is very much catered for working adults. So each of these 8 modules will be delivered and offered to students in a modular basis. Now, the definition of modular basis means by one subject will be offered at a single point of time, spreading across 8 weekends. Right. In terms of the breakdowns, for example, let's say you're starting your first lesson in the month of May. Right. So in the month of May, basically you have 4 weekends in the month of May. So student is required to attend classes, right, on the first Saturday from, let's say, 10 o'clock Malaysia time up to 5 p.m. Malaysia time on the first Saturday. Then the second half of this lecture, the same subject, will be conducted on the following Saturday in the same timing, 10 to 5. Right. So after the 2 weekends, right, moving on weekend 3 all the way to weekend 6, you don't have any live session, or there's no more classes, as those time are free up for you to complete your necessary other commitment or your assignment. Right. Now comes the weekend number 6, you don't have a lecture, but weekend 6 is the deadline for you to submit that 1 pieces of assignment at 5,000 words. So you need to actually just submit this through the student portal, and that would actually complete the progression status of your first module. Now, this structure actually works for both. If you're here for face-to-face, it means that you need to come to our campus to attend the live sessions across this period. And of course, if you are applying as an online student, you can actually just join in through Zoom, right? Zoom online to attend the classes here. Right. So you will need to repeat this process again, 1 subject every 8 weeks for all the 8 modules, which means you need to do the same thing for all the 8 modules in the same patterns. That will roughly takes up around 1 year, plus. And then later on, once you have completed these 8 modules in the arrangement I just shared with you a moment ago, then you will be moving into the part 2. The part 2 is basically known as the doctorate thesis component. Let me clarify. The subject number 9 is basically known as your progression status for your thesis writing, covering chapter 1 and 2. In the chapter 1 and 2, students will be writing on introductions, your hypotheses, and the objective of your research. Those are all happening in in subjects number 9, chapter 1 and 2. Later on, you will progress to subjects number 10. It is also known as the chapter 3 and 4 progression. Now, in chapter 3, usually you are required to compile your data. It can be primary data and secondary data. You need to compile your data depending on your research. And then later on at chapter 4, that is where you need to throw in the necessary models to crunch and interpret your data analysis part. Those are all happening in subject 10, or also known as chapter 4. Lastly, the subject 11 is also known as chapter number 5. It is where you need to write the summary, recommendations, and conclusion. So while students are writing a doctorate thesis, basically you'll be given a one-to-one guidance and supervision across this level. So basically, depending on the nature of your thesis, basically, are you focusing on the field of management or finance or etc.? So we will actually, before you even start writing, you will be attending a methodology session, research methodology session, whereby the chief supervisor will basically, guide students and showcase what are the formats required by the university, what kind of titles, how to select a titles, what kind of dependencies and variables you need to have within your context of a title. And then later on, before you even start writing, you're also required to go through the pinning process. The pinning process is whereby, once you have selected a title, right, then the chief supervisor will basically ask you further questions even before you start writing, such as, what is the objective of your research? Where would you get your data, right? Are you going to use a primary or secondary data? And more importantly, those data, are they confidential data by the organizations or agency? Have you got the approval to do that, and what's not? So you will go through this pinning process. And of course, if at any point of time, if you have hurdles, you can't get these and that, then yes, the supervisor will actually guide you back to square one and ask you to rephrase your ideas and probably make some adjustment, and we keep repeating that process. So this is the pinning process you will be going through first. At least it means that a student will have a clear ideas on how and where you're heading towards. And once you're done, right, this objective and discussion is done in your first process, only then you will start writing. Right? Of course, writing, it means that you're not just given up and write everything yourself. You need to write that progressively with the guidance of the blueprint. I'm just showing you the guidance of the blueprint. This is for the subjects 9, 10, and 11. So basically, as I mentioned, you may take some months. These are just recommended months. You can actually speed up or even delay the process. The months, such as in the first few months, these are the things that you need to do. These are the journals that you need to do. These are the draft you need to do. You need to write a proposal, and so on. So these are the processes you'll be going through. Don't worry about this at this stage. You will be needing this at a later point of time. So progressively, we will guide the students until you have a very clear understanding. Only then you start writing your research. All right. So that will be all. This is how you complete that. And of course, towards the end of this program, once you have completed all the 5 chapters, before you graduate from this program, you're also required to attend a mandatory Viva Voce session, which will be supervised and observed by the university panels. At that time, it's something like a presentation stage, whereby you just need to present your case, your thesis, and research. Of course, questions will be posted. All you need to do is just to answer all the questions accordingly. And once you satisfy the academic standing of this program, only then you will be conferred with this doctorate qualification. All right, moving on to the next part on the fees and financing. And this is the most interesting part. So basically, yes, we have 3 structure, but it generally works the same. Now, let us go through the first part. It is catered for Malaysian students and also foreign students who don't need a student visa. So before I go into the fees, let us just go through some basics. Right? Over here, we have 2 structure, the face-to-face structure and the online structure. Now, these 2 tables here, the table 1 and table 2, are catered for those students who are applying for the face-to-face program. So face-to-face program means that you are planning to actually attend the classes here in our campus in Taman Tun for all the first 8 modules. Yeah, that is known as face-to-face. So if you're going for the face-to-face structure in terms of your fees, it will be chargeable by semester basis. Just a recap over here at Mentisa, we have 3 major semesters in a year known as the April semesters, August semester, as well as the January semester. So it basically means that if, let's say, a student start the program now in the month of April, the first semester, that student paid 5,000 ringgit in April. Then comes the second semester, that is in August 2021, the students pay 4,500 in August, and so on. And then comes next year, January, they pay another 4,500, and so on. It means that the student will pay this amount until they complete this program. Now, the definition of complete means by a student who has successfully completed the 8 core subjects plus the thesis writing, until the last amendment. That is known as the definition of completion. So the bottom line is we don't have a very pretty much fixed fee. We leave it open-ended. We actually empower this fee structure to the student. So it means that if you're able to complete this program in the shorter time possible, then you pay lesser fee compared to another friend of yours who spent a longer time to complete that. The same thing goes for those candidates who are applying for online. If you're applying for online, basically, you notice that you will be charged by monthly basis. So let's say now in the month of April, I'm starting my first module. Then yes, the first month, I'm just going to pay 3,000 ringgit to attend the class online. Then comes the second month, which is in May. I just need to pay 1,000 in May, and comes June, I pay 1,000, and so on until I complete the program. So students will be asking, so what is my rough total cost fee? So I would say that you need to calculate this based on approximately 24 months to 36 months. So it all depends on the student. If you're able to complete this program, let's say in 24 months, then you just do the maths accordingly. So you just times the maths accordingly across 24 months. Likewise, if let's say students needs a longer time, let's say 36 months to complete this program, then you just do the maths accordingly using the same formula. All right, so that is the cost fee of this program. Okay, so before I go through to the next part, I just wonder, is there any questions that you have? If you have, please just feel free to write in the comments. I'll be more than happy to address them accordingly. All right. Okay, now let's go through then. So yes, contact info. So I hope you enjoyed the first session. I think that's a lot of information to take in. And of course, what you need to do is, for those candidates who are ready to apply for this program, yes, we have an upcoming intake that starts in May. Of course, today is the live trial class. Later on, I'm going to direct the traffic. You're going to join the sessions, and you just feel free to interact with students and whatnot. And of course, if you're ready to apply for this program, all you need to do is to email us, right? This is the email, or you can WhatsApp my number, I'm Mr. Sheng, your documentation. So you can just WhatsApp or scan to us in email your master's certificate, your transcript, your latest CV. And of course, if you are a non-Malaysian candidate or applicant, then you may need to also scan to us your passport profile page for identity verification use. Once you have sent to us all this documentation, then in 2 working days, we will come back to you with the outcome of the screening process. So basically, what is screening process? It's like once we have collected your documents, it's free of charge, then we will submit your documents to the academic team to go through your credential. Once everything is fine, then the academic team will issue you with the conditional offer letter, so that you can read through all the terms and the current structure and offer. If you like it, then yes, you can make the fees and join the class for the upcoming session. Otherwise, if you think this is not for you, don't worry, then you can just leave it until you are ready to apply. All right. Okay, I have a question. Any scholarship granted to MBA Dean's List students? Yes, the answer is yes. So as long as the students applied into our doctorate program, as long as previously you host a Dean's List or the first class holder, you are a first class holder, then yes, we'll be giving some scholarship and rewards. So we will use your CGPA as a base calculations to calculate. So the outcome, I can't give you information on that, but usually these scholarship component will be calculated by the academic team. So what you can do is, we appreciate you can just send us the documents, then we will come back to you together with the outcome of your conditional offer letter, plus your scholarship rewards after the screening process is done. All right, then later on, once you receive that, you can decide if this is correct for you, and if everything looks fine, you can proceed. All right. Okay, what do we have here now? Okay, so yeah, last component. So if everything looks fine for you, and I think everyone is here today for the trial class, just bear with me a moment. I'm just going to share with you a link. What you need to do is, I'm going to direct the traffic, but before that, you need to actually click this link. I'm going to put this link in the chat box. Please take note of your chat box. That's this link. You need to click on it, and then the link will actually direct you to, the links will actually direct you to a form. What you need to do is to fill out that form, which is your attendance taking form, to take your attendance. And then once you have filled the forms and when you submit the form, then the screen will actually display a Zoom link and the password. So you can actually join in. It's a live sessions by Dr. Fakros for today's DBA trial class, which is the Modern Innovation and Entrepreneurship. So just to clarify, this sessions is a real class with real students and lecturers. So their class is starting from now until 5 p.m. It's just 11 a.m. in Malaysia here. So the class will actually end at 5 p.m. So in between, if you enter the class and after 1 or 2 hours, if you feel tired, you want to exit, it's fine. You just exit the session. All right. So if later on after lunch you want to join back the session, yes, you may just go back to the link that you have received, and you can join the class until 5 p.m. Of course, don't worry, it's no obligation. It means that it doesn't mean that you join, you must sign up for a program. It's not like that. Just go in. We want the students to have the experience on the class. Due to COVID, so we push everything to online for now. And of course, just enjoy the session. If they have discussion, just feel free to participate. And of course, later on, if you have other activities in the afternoon you want to quit, it's absolutely fine. You can just quit from this session. All right. So please, you may proceed now. That would be all from my part. Thank you so much for your time and attention. And of course, again, if you have any other questions, you can copy my number. This is my WhatsApp number. You can just WhatsApp me accordingly, and I'll try my best ability to assist you from there. Other than that, yes, guys, you can actually proceed by clicking the links provided in the comments, and then it will direct you to a page where you need to fill out the forms that is known as the attendance taking form. And then once you hit the submit button, you will get the Zoom link and password to join the session. Okay, all right, that's it for today. Thank you so much for your time. I really enjoyed to have this quick session after many months of this last trial class. Of course, do feel free to contact us. I'm just going to put my number here. Just give me a moment. So I've placed in my WhatsApp number in the chat box. And of course, if you have any questions, just feel free to WhatsApp me. I'll be more than happy to actually assist you for that. All right, that's it for today. Thank you so much for your time and have a great day and happy weekend.